So, in the first chapter we saw that Arjuna has put down his weapons and he is in despair, and at this point of time Krishna, who has just been a silent listener taking in all the nonsense from Arjuna, he says, okay, I am going to break the ice. He starts talking, and the start of the second chapter itself is very dramatic, with Sanjaya saying, in the middle of the two armies there is this chariot of Krishna and Arjuna, and Krishna is always smiling, and he starts off, the very first words he says, Kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupasthitam anaryushtam asvargyam akirtikaram Arjuna. This is an hour of crisis. How can you lose heart in this hour of crisis? It is ignoble, does not lead to higher realms, and it is dishonorable. So, he starts off with a rebuke. And then the next one, of course, is what Vivekananda said, that if there is one shloka in the Bhagavad Gita I want people to read, he said it is this one. Klaibyam masma gama partha naitatvai upapadyate kshudram hridaya daurbalyam tyaktvottishta parantapa. And here this, where has this klaibyam, almost like unmanliness, impotence, where has this come from? And this does not befit you, he says, does not suit you, and let go of this daurbalyam. Like we were discussing, people have found latest equipment to do heart surgery, but how to solve hridaya daurbalyam,
weakness of heart,
we don't know.
That is the lowest, I say. Yeah. Kshudram
hridaya daurbalyam tyaktvottishta, let it go, abandon it and stand. And he says parantapa, which is very interesting, because some of the epithets used in the Gita are very meaningful. Here is a great warrior, he burns his enemies, and he is sitting down in his chariot, and that is when Arjuna says, I don't know what to do, these are people, how can I live after killing them?
After killing, yaneva hatva najiji vishamaha, I can kill them, but after killing them I don't feel like living, so it's as well as all of us dying.
Yeah.
So in fact it kind of connects to what happens to our addictions. So lot of time it is not so much that we cannot give up addictions, either alcohol or drug, or even coffee is an addiction too. It is less dangerous, it's the most popular drug. What we feel is, if we don't do that, we feel the life itself is useless.
Yeah.
So by not doing that. So the same kind of concept, yaneva hatva najiji vishama, after killing this Drona and Bhishma and all these ancestors and elders, teachers, he doesn't feel like living. And he also says that all these things we do, all the gains we have in our life, all the merits we get, is only to please our ancestors. This is another very Indian concept, is we live for others. We always do, we gain wealth, we do this, we build house, all these things, we get good grades in exam, all this to look good for other people. Yeah. Let's say what other people will think. So that's very interesting. Then he surrenders to him. He says that I am your shishya, karpanya dosho pahatasva bhavaha prichhamitvam dharma sammuda chetaha yatshreyasyan nishchitam bruhitan me shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam.
So here nishchitam,
yeah,
for
nishchitam,
surely, please tell
exactly,
me
yeah,
certainly what it is.
Yeah,
then of course the famous line, starting off line, is the 11th shloka, where he says prajna vadamscha bhashase, that you are making statements that seem wise, but it's actually the words of a fool, to put it bluntly. Yeah. That why are you speaking words that are seeming wise but are not?
They are not, they are otherwise.
They are otherwise. And then he talks about the wise grieve neither for the living nor for the dead.
Not for the dead, yeah. In fact, even that when he says, Sanjaya says, prahasanniva bharata, in a smiling way.
Almost like he's smiling.
Not in any serious way. Well, Arjuna is crying, but he is kind of smiling and say, prahasanniva bharata, ashocha nanmashochastvam pragnavadamscha bhashase. You are thinking about things you should not be thinking.
Gatasuna
gatasumscha. Yeah, because gatasuna gatasumscha nanu shochanti panditaha. Because people don't grieve or worry about people who are alive or people who are dead. Actually, if you extrapolate that, worry doesn't solve anything.
Yeah.
I have never seen, it may help you cleanse yourself, but it doesn't solve a problem. I keep telling that if somebody is going to give me minimum wage, at that time it was $3.50 in the US, now it is $15 or $10. Even if they give me minimum wage, I am willing to worry all my life because nothing happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that. So it's a very powerful statement. It also, the reason he said Gatasun, Agatasun, Gatasun he brought up because Arjuna brought up that. All the ancestors who have departed. So Krishna addressed that in one and half a line.
Ashocyan, Anvashocyan, lot of people say that it is not, you are grieving for them and they are not worthy of grief. But actually it is more of something, this is not worthy of grief.
The idea, the whole concept.
Yeah, it is not
that. I'm glad you said that. Many people translate that as these Kauravas are not worthy of your concern. That's not true. According to Krishna, you should not be concerned about Krishna or Yudhishthira or anybody.
Just do your work.
It's a general concept. It's not directed to any particular group of people.
Then after this, the whole set of arguments that follow almost through the second chapter is the various ways in which Krishna gives a reasoning for fighting the war. Convincing Arjuna. And I think that's also the Sankhya Yoga, although it has nothing to do with the Sankhya Darshana, one of the Shat Darshanas, it is more like a method of reasoning. And he uses many arguments, right? It's not just one line of arguments. It is a huge spectrum of arguments.
Yeah, it starts with the very high level of soul is imperishable, so who is killing, who is getting killed, all those things. Basically, it cannot be killed, it cannot be destroyed. He uses the maximum number of words to describe the soul, achala, sthanu, sarvagatam, a kind of word he uses all those things. Everywhere as ajaha, all those things. Of course, there are many popular slokas there. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, nachainam kledayantyapo, nashoshayati marutaha. Tatsedyoyam adahyoyam akledyo shoshyayevacha nitya sarvagata sthanuhu achaloyam sanatana. All sarvagataha he uses, it's everywhere. And sthanuhu, achala also is there. Kind of, it's everywhere, it's moving and not moving. Kind of very, that's why it's very difficult to comprehend that. He himself says that ascharyavat pashyati kastidenan ascharyavat vadati tataiva chanyaha ascharyavatchaina manyashrunoti shrutvapyenam veda nachaiva kastiti. Nobody knows for sure
even
this
after
concept
all this.
of this. Even after hearing, knowing, all those things, nobody knows for sure. All those things
it's a wonder.
In there. It's a wonder. One sees it as wonder, speaks of it as wonder,
hears of it.
Hears it as wonder. Even after that, is still wondering what it is.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
It's not very clear.
Still wondering.
And then he also appeals to a very basic level of reasoning, right? He says if you don't fight, people will laugh at you.
Exactly, yeah.
Which is a very pedestrian argument.
Enemies will ridicule you.
And
your admirers will be let down.
Yeah.
Your enemies will be happy, they will ridicule you, they will tell endlessly, all, it will
and
go on.
Such dishonor is worse than death. And then he goes on to something very beautiful by the 54th verse when Arjuna asks about who is a person of steady insight, who is the Sthita Prajna. And then from this 55th onwards with the Prajahati Yada Kaman, he talks about all the various qualities of a Sthita Prajna. And there he is telling who is an ideal person. So he is not just complaining about Arjuna at some level, but he is also giving an ideal model. Well, this is how
what to follow. What it would be. Yeah. That too because he asked again.
Yes, again.
Yeah, he did not just throw it.
He asked, so he is giving
In fact, even though we call it Sankhya Yoga, he also talks about action, Karma Yoga also. Buddhi Yoga, he calls it doing action without desire, for fruits of action, doing action for action's sake. All those things comes in this itself. So it's also the Sankhya of high soul knowledge and then street knowledge, like Hari just pointed out, that people will ridicule you. And also acting without any self-interest in that, without looking for rewards as the goal.
Then another small bit in the second chapter, very interesting, comes in the 42nd to 45th, where he talks about the problems of people who are obsessed with the ritualistic aspect of
Exactly,
Veda.
yeah.
And it culminates with Yavan Artha Udapane Sarvata Sampratodake.
Flowery words. It talks about Yamimam Pushpitam Vacham Pravadanta Vipastitaha Vedavada Rata Partha Nanyadastiti Vadinaha. He didn't ridicule that, Krishna. There is nothing more than that, they say. He's not putting it down.
Yeah, he's talking
said
about
that if you think that's all it is, that's not right.
And the words, the flowery words,
Flowery words
only
of
the
Vedas.
words are everything, it's a problem.
That is actually even today, if you go and ask a temple Purohita or Archaka, what should I do? He will ask you to do 108 Satyanarayana Pujas.
Yeah.
It's just like it's a flowery words that like that. So these Vedas have a lot of things like that. He asked them to go beyond that. And those people who are only caught up by that, they will never realize the truth. He says that they are only caught up in that cycle of doing, reward, working, reward. To spend the reward, you come back, like the cycle of birth and death.
And the imagery he gives in the 46th shloka is very beautiful, right? He says this is like a well of water, these words, but there is a flood everywhere.
Exactly.
What is the use of this well? So
Once
the
you have
knowledge of
realized,
Brahman or knowledge of the ultimate is like a flood, whereas these words of Vedas are only like a well. It is still valuable.
Yeah.
It's not that the well water is not valuable, but in the face of this flood, it is, it's very small.
Exactly. Yeah, water is very essential, but after drinking water, we have to advance.
Yeah, exactly.
don't sit like a lake, like a pond. It's a beautiful verse. Yavan artha udapane sarvata samplatodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanata. For one who has realized all this water around, he doesn't have any more thirst. It's as useless as that for someone who is redeemed of his thirst. What's the use of all the water?
And of course, with the 47th verse, we come to the most celebrated shloka in the Bhagavad-Gita, and also probably the most misinterpreted
shloka.
The karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalahetu purmate sangostva karmani.
That is typical translation for that is karmane adhikaraste. Adhikara means you have right or duty. They say your duty only to action. Ma phaleshu kadachana. You don't have any right or duty towards the fruit of action.
Then nobody will work.
Nobody will do. You can make poison, but you should not drink it.
Yeah.
Like that he is saying that. Because adhikara does have those meanings as duty, right. But adhikara also has a meaning called control. I think we believe in this context, control is the right meaning for the adhikara. Karmanye vadikaraste means you have control only on your action.
You don't have a control over the result.
No control on what happens to it. Like a cricket bowler goes and bowls, he cannot tell, we don't know, it may be a sixer, it may be a wicket, or even somebody gives a catch, some Sardesa may drop it. So you never know that. So he has no control on that, but he has control on how well he can bowl with all his effort and spin or whatever, pace, spin, all those things. So then that is why don't be preoccupied with the outcome, focus on the work. Just don't say that just because I have no control on the outcome, I won't do anything.
And in the same verse, he says that.
That's the second part.
The second part, exactly, because this argument might come. Mate sangosta akarmani. Don't get attached to inaction. Don't be lazy.
Exactly. There are many people who say, I will fight battle only which I will win. That's very common. I will buy this stock only if it's going to rise. So that nobody can say that. It's actually a stupid statement. Because you cannot know in advance.
Exactly.
So like that, that's why we feel that that verse is one of the most abused verses.
And also when we see this in light of the 18th chapter, 14th shloka, then we realize that what are the parameters that are required to predict the outcome. If we want to predict the outcome of an action, then we need this individual and the tools he has, the situation, the way he or she uses the tools, and
some
unknown forces.
Because it raises a question, right? If you don't have control on action, who has the control on action? That's an obvious question, although Arjuna did not ask, but that's an obvious question. So he answers in chapter 18, verse 14. That is another abused verse, because it's a meaningless. Translations are meaningless in there. There he clearly says, Adhishtanam tata karta karanancha pritagvidam vividascha pritag cheshtaha daimam chaivatra panchamam. Says Adhishtanam is context, station in which you do timing of action. If you try to
the
sell,
circumstance.
if you try to sell a swimsuit in winter, nobody will buy it.
Yeah.
So like that, timing is important. Then tata karta, individual is absolutely important in anything we do. Some people can make it happen.
Exactly.
It is something in them can make it happen. Adhishtanam tata karta. Karanancha pritagvidam, different kind of tools and resources, knowledge, all those things they have. Then vividascha pritak chestaha, how they use that,
Yes.
how they apply that. And finally, even if you do all those things, the daivam chaivatra panchamam, there is unknown. Daivam is unknown here, like act of God in insurance policies.
Yeah.
Many people translate it as Devurugulu. For those each act, there is a particular God. For God for going to America is there, God for making
you have
profit.
now, for example, the Visa Balaji temple.
Yeah.
There is a temple in Andhra Pradesh where you can go and pray to get a visa to America.
Visa, like that. That kind of thing. There is a Devata for visa, there is a Devata for
plague,
gold price increasing or coming down, all those things.
Yeah, but here they talking about unknown factors.
Unknown. Nobody knows that. That is the fifth is the unknown. So that is, those two are connected very well, actually. In fact, he goes further to say, these are the same 5 things we determine irrespective. Nyayam va, viparitam va, panchaite tasya hetavaha. Doesn't matter even if your intentions were good or bad. Doesn't matter.
It's going to be the same.
Not like if you are good, God is behind you, nothing like that. In fact, irrespective of that, that is why we see many people do everything wrong. We feel, wow, these people are so wrong, but everything they succeed. Yeah. So we don't know that hidden, that daivam, we don't know what is written in each person's life. We don't know that.
Yeah.
So that may be the reason we can reconcile. You just go few verses before that. He says, when you win, you enjoy this world.
Well, exactly.
When you die, you go to Virasvarga. Hatova prapsasi svargam jitvava bokshase mahim. He never said, Arjuna, win and just walk away. Die and just be cremated. He didn't say that. There is a guaranteed in our tradition that if you die in the battle, you go to Virasvarga.
And also, I think this is very important because in the tradition of Sanatana Dharma, celebrating life is the common theme. Exactly. It is not purging joy as something sinful. Like in some of the Semitic traditions, here we celebrate life, we enjoy things. And so there is absolutely nothing wrong in enjoying the fruits of your action. It's only that you can't control it. And like he says later on, that it is the enjoyment that doesn't violate dharma that is prescribed for us.
Dharma aviruddho bhuteshu. In fact, even in the Taittiriya Upanishad, the instruction teacher gave is bhutyaina pramaditavyam, swadhyaya pravachanabhya pramaditavyam, all those things he says. So you should do self-study as well as get all the material. Don't look down.
Exactly.
Even in we say sarira madhyam kalu dharma sadhanam. Don't go your body to go waste, but keep up your body well, keep your health well. Then only sarira madhyam kalu dharma sadhanam. For anything to do, you should have good health. So all those things are stressed. So we have never looked down on wealth.
Yeah.
But problem is we look down on one who only look upon wealth. It's also concept like we have the 4 purusharthas, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. The artha is definitely one of the recognized goals of life. It is not looked down. They all go in parallel, but your acquisition of kama and artha should not violate dharma.
And again, like the problem is never about acquiring wealth, about earning money, but the problem is with hoarding. Hoarding is looked down upon generally.
Exactly.
Whereas earning and spending is good.
Exactly.
It's part of the system. In fact, there is the story in the Vedas where a couple is going to the bank of the river every day, and then there is flour, wheat flour or rice flour on the banks, not anything else. So they bring that and they cook food. One day they said, why to go every day? Let us get it, for a week. And then when they go back after a week, it has become sand. So the whole thing is about getting stuff what we require, not hoarding beyond what we need.
Not hoarding. Don't wait for demonetization to hoard to come back.
Exactly.
It should not be hoarding at all.
Exactly.
In the first place. It should be flowing. You always say Chanchale. Lakshmi is Chanchale. She is always flowing. When you fold her, you are suffocating it. You are suffocating the whole society actually by doing that. Yeah.
And then after Krishna talks about all the various aspects of who is a Sthita Prajna, then there is a couple of verses which are very interesting, which show how unfulfilled desires and brooding over something actually leads to destruction. So that's a very fascinating chain of reaction. He says
thought leads to.
He starts with when somebody is preoccupied with sensations, and then there is a kind of attachment that develops, a desire for them, and then unfulfilled desire lead to frustration. Frustration lead to confusion. Confusion impairs reasoning, and then there is a lack of discernment. And when reasoning is destroyed, he is completely
lost. Person is
lost. Yeah. So I think that's a very beautiful connection.
Nice connection. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshopajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodobhijayate krodad bhavati sammoha sammoha smriti vibhramaha smriti bhramshat buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashyati kamat krodot jayate. When you have desire, you get anger, he says. It may be funny, you think why would desire lead to anger? Because desire is endless, greed is endless.
And unfulfilled desire.
It will always be unfulfilled.
Yeah,
when you are greedy, you can only get this. There will be something you will never get.
Yeah.
So when you are on that path, you will end up in, there will be unfulfillment will be
and
there.
Especially if it is a karma of the body, then it is very straightforward. Once your stomach is full, you can't eat anymore. And this applies for any of the bodily activities. But when it comes to wealth and other things,
it is endless.
It's endless.
Yeah, there is 1 billion, I can make 10 billion, 100 billion like that. So it will always lead a point of disappointment.
And then there's another verse I like very much here. He talks about how the self-restrained person is awake when the other people are asleep, and other people, when they are awake, the self-restrained person, the sage, is asleep. So this is a very beautiful metaphor for the contrast between a Muni and a person who is, caught in the cycle of samsara.
Ya nisha sarva bhutanam yasyam jagarti sanyami sa nisha pashyato munehi. What the other people see as dark, the realized person sees that as the bright light.
Exactly.
Day looks at as he is awakened to that kind of thought.
And then he ends here the second chapter that talking about the state of Brahman. He says once you overcome these desires, there is a lasting happiness, and once you achieve the state of Brahman, you don't come out of it.
Back,
there is no coming back. You have reached the highest level, and you are there. There is and even if this reaching happens at the moment of death.
Any time that can happen, even at the moment of death.
Because the moment you attain the state of Brahman, it is a timeless state. It has no desha kala boundaries of space and time. So that's a very
Brahma Nirvana, he calls it.
Brahma Nirvana.
Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha Nainam Prapya Vimushyati Stitvasyam Antakalepi Brahma Nirvana Mrichati. In fact, if you apply this, once our brain gets expanded to an idea, it will never go back.
Exactly.
No matter what happens in the world, your expanded idea will never go back. It's like mind is stretched, will not shrink
again. So I think that's a very nice point to end the second chapter, where he starts with what the hell are you doing? Then he goes on to say don't cry and don't lament about these people and all the reasoning, and finally ends with the highest possible state that you can achieve. He says that once you reach that, you will be there. So it doesn't matter, even if you are going to die now.
Any time is fine.
Any time is fine.
That is the realization. If you didn't realize at any stage, that is kind of you can call it as a wasted life. Doesn't have to be now, at least at some stage.
There is no force for liberation. But at the same time, if it is driven from within and you try to reach there, even if you reach it at the last moment, it doesn't matter. I mean, you will get into that.
But earlier you reach it, more benefit to get. Your life itself will be different.
If you can become
people who call Jivan Muktas. Then realized it right here and now. There is one verse slightly before that. That's also beautiful. It's a meter, also very beautiful meter. We didn't talk about the poetic meter in Gita. They usually uses, most of it is anushtup, which is 8 syllables of 4 lines. Most of the verses. Some of them are jagati and trishtup also. The trishtup is kind of 11 syllables and 4 lines. So 44 syllables in all. So one of the nice verses is there. Actually, chapter 2 has many verses in that meter.
Yeah, like na jayate mriyate va.
Na jayate is there, and even Arjuna surrendering karpanya dosho. It concludes just a penultimate verse. Apuryamana achala pratishtam samudramapa pravishamti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishamti sarve sashanti mapnoti na kama kami. Just like the rivers empty into ocean, but the ocean never gets disturbed.
Yeah.
Like that, for a person who is realized, all the joys flow into that person.
Yeah.
Not for the person who runs after. Exactly. Not a kama kami who chases all these pleasures.
Yeah.
Whereas for a realized, all this joy kind of come into, flow into this person. That's a nice,
that's a beautiful
analogy.
mantra.
Is good. How the rivers never make an ocean to flood.
Yeah.
Kind of ocean still remains
what it is.
But ocean can create tsunami within itself, but not caused by rivers.
Exactly. So with that, I think the second chapter comes to an end. Then we will see in the third chapter how the argument and discussion moves on.